Hello, everybody. Dosian here with Weird Spins, and just doing a brief introduction while I'm out on the road. Today, just a regular day. I've been out doing a little bit of Instacart, running some family errands. When I get home, I'm going to try to go through some of the things that I've picked up over the last couple of months. I've had some 45 RPM rescues. I picked up some nifty 78s and party records. And this video will probably run long because tomorrow may have a little bit of an adventure. I'm going on a dig. I haven't done a dig in a while. Work has been sparse, but guy said he's bringing out 3,000 records. It may be a pile of Sing Along with Mitch, but who knows? I might find some interesting, fun things in there. So we shall see. All right, over the last few weeks, I have, well, actually a couple of months, I guess. I haven't done really many updates. I may have covered a couple of these things, I'm not sure. But I've had a couple of opportunities to go and rescue some records that were being discarded through either Craigslist or Marketplace or someplace. As well as I've gotten lucky at a yard sale with some 78s that I picked up. I mentioned those earlier, and also in thrift, finding records for sometimes as little as a quarter. So that's really, really unusual in South Florida. So didn't find anything grandiose in the LPs, but stuff that's nice and that's fun. So far as it goes with the 45s, not a lot of them are in the best of shape, but the ones that I kept are not terrible. They're scuffy. I don't keep the really deep scratch, gouged up things. I'm going to throw those out. But for stuff to play with and to enjoy just giving a listen to, if it's scuffy and it's not something that I'm really outwardly collecting, it's nice and fun to find things that are vintage that I can explore, maybe in some cases music I haven't even heard before. But I also found a lot of hits. Like I got some Herman's Hermits in here. I've got some Stones in here. I've got Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water, of course. I've got an original of the Royal Guardsmen in here. Of course, there's at least one Elvis. There's a bunch of Monkees. Here's the Deep Purple. Let's see. This one is Jim Croce, and that one is downright minty. This one I don't think I know. Lee Merrill and the Golden Horns, Off the Wall. So I'll check that out later. The Partridge Family. Here's a Chicago 25 or 6 to 4. Some Bay City Rollers. The Angels with My Boyfriend's Back. I think that's an original label. I don't think that's a reissue. So there's a bunch of vintagey stuff like that in there, and like the Monkees on the original label. And a few novelties too. We got Loudon Wainwright here with Dead Skunk in the Middle of the Road. So I love finding things like that. The second batch that turned up, I paid $2 and got a big grab bag of 7-inch at Goodwill, and had no idea what to expect to find in it. I did get some neat little EPs with really cute picture sleeves that are sort of ragtime stuff, so I'm happy to have gotten a hold of those. They sound pretty nice too, and I don't mind ragtime at all. I think it's kind of enjoyable. A lot of it is sort of Muzak oriented. This one sleeve in particular, I love this. Look at that thing. That is outrageous. That's worth it for the artwork on it alone. And that's a 2 EP set. So it's it gatefolds. That's kind of cool. We got some stuff like some Les Paul in here that's promo copies. So yeah, as Cosmic Vinyl would say, holy shit, white label promo copy. But, you know, we've got in that second batch, for the most part, things like Jimmy Durante, which, you know, I like old movies, so yay. Willie Gibson and the Boys, Sinatra, Jerry Vale, some of the more Muzak-y kind of orchestra stuff, Art Mooney, you know, that kind of thing. So those were not particularly a special thing to find until these three turned up, which made me very happy. These are Ruth Wallace original label on red wax singles. Ruth Wallace is famous for doing very bawdy double entendre burlesque era, kind of like late 50s, early 60s party records of a sort. They're not crude in the sense of the way that you would, have people throwing around F-bombs today, basically. So much as they're just loaded with double jokes, like double entendre jokes. Like her biggest, most popular song probably is Davy's Dinghy. He's got the cutest little dinghy in the Navy. So there you go. Talking about a boat. What? Anyway, it was nice to find these original press, because it's one of those situations where she was quite the crooner and she had a successful career. She was with a label, but she did her own material. They didn't want to publish her own material, so she hired an orchestra. She had everything arranged. She went in the studio and she started her own label. So these are all private press under Wallace Originals. So I thought that was a very, very cool find. The third batch is on a lot of really cool labels. We had this Tommy Tate School of Life, and I Remember on Coco. There's a lot of like the Sam and Dave on an original type Stax variant. Not all of these are in the greatest of shape, but I mean, there's the Temptations, Jean Knight. I mean, a lot of really cool old school soul, Shorty Long. There's some James Brown in there from the very early 1960s. It's like crooner kind of stuff, not what he got famous for with funk later on. This one, I'm going to give a spin later on just to check out what all the buzz is. This one is Righteous Love and Here in the Name of Love by Premonition on a private stock label called Martin Records. And when I looked this up on Discogs, this one's actually a strong, very good plus, which shocked me because it didn't have a sleeve on it. It's gone for anywhere from $50 to $225. So this alone was worth going 3 miles out of my way and saying, yes, I'll take whatever you've got there. Like I've said in the past, don't turn down free. You never know what you're going to get. The 78s that turned up, and I paid 25 cents a piece for these. I have a dozen or so of them, and they're like minty, shiny looking things. I have a bunch of 12-inch one-siders, and these are all Carusos. So I have a whole box of Carusos here, and a lot of them are in original sleeves with art and advertising, which are very crumbly, so I have to be very careful, but that's cool as can be. They have program back labels on some of them that give you detail about the artist and the composer and the work and the orchestra and the conductor. So this is like the equivalent of liner notes at the time. I showed one before that basically had the copyright rules on a record from this period, but this is one of the Victor ones I was talking about that in that 78's video that actually has a lot of data about the recording itself and the contents of the recording itself, and not a bunch of legal nonsense or care taking of your record stuff. One of them also has a back plate. I think you're familiar with back plates, so I'm not going to try to dig too hard to find it. But they're neat looking things. Alright, so the back plate is basically kind of an engraving. So it's like an engraved record, but what it is they molded it with art on the back of it that promotes the label, since they were doing single side press at the time. Alright, the stuff that I found thrifting. Everybody knows I like comedy records, so this one I gotta admit, Rickles is offensive. Yes, he got under my skin on it, and I couldn't even complete a side, so I'll probably give this away. The sleeve is entirely split, the record's in really good shape, but I like Rickles in movies and other things, but there was just too much stuff in that was just like, this guy, I put up a short video from this. He's a sound effects wizard as a comedian. I don't know if he was very successful, but it's autographed, so this was probably sold at a nightclub where he was performing. And he's really actually very good if he's still alive. If he's not still alive, then he was actually really good. These guys, Hudson and Landry, I got 2 records by them. They're sketch comedy. seem semi-improvisational. They almost have a BBC style to them, although they're obviously either American or Canadian, and they're well done. So I was pretty pleased with those. Those were a blind buy. I'd never listened to them before. This is Old Man Adam and His Chillin', which is a literature based on biblical tales going back to the slave era. The reason I got this is a Caedmon label that usually dealt with highbrow actors and performers, and they would record and publish a lot of spoken word stuff for high schools and junior high schools and even elementary schools, almost in the style of radio plays. I remember the first time that I knew of the Cask of Amontillado. I didn't actually read it. I heard it on this Victor label subsidiary in a public library or a school library. What brought my attention to this when I stumbled across it in Thrift is the reading is by Manton Moreland. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with Manton Moreland, but I was actually quite a fan. He is an artist, or was an artist, who deserves a bit more accolade. He usually kind of gets slammed because he was typecast into stereotype roles, and he kind of stuck with them even on his own. But what he did on his own that people wouldn't expect was he wrote a lot of his own material, and also did so in a team with another comedian that was a friend. He also wrote and directed and produced some of his own films exclusively for the African American marketplace, which was not something that happened a lot back in the 30s and 40s, but he did it. And he was just extraordinary and very, very forward-thinking man in a time where there was an awful lot of unfair oppression going on. And so far as his performances, considering the material that he had to deliver, if you want to get some idea of the sense of the brilliance of his comic timing and his ability to actually get laughs, look for an old movie called King of the Zombies in it. And there's a hilarious moment where he's actually convinced that he's a zombie when he's not, and has to become unconvinced through the help of a lady that's living at this estate that's a cook. And just the whole chemistry of that scene and the dynamics of it are masterful. He was a brilliant artist. Last performance I know of by him, but I don't know if it was his last performance, was appearing in Spider Baby with Sid Haig. All right. Favorite Ray Stevens album has It's Me Again, Margaret. I'm not a big country fan, but I do like some of his comedy. This has the Mississippi Squirrel Revival on it, which is hilarious. It has a squirrel run up somebody's leg in the middle of a church sermon and set the whole place off. It's Me Again, Margaret is about a obscene phone caller, and it's absolutely hilarious. Every song on this album is funny, and as a collector of funny, I treasure it. So I was glad to find that. That was an album that my mother actually bought and took on vacation with us when I was a kid. And so I would request that to be played in the car when we were traveling. We have Rusty Warren's Sensational turned up. And this one had a hidden treasure inside of it that I posted a picture of recently. There's an advert card in here. Oh, come on, shake out. To join the Knockers Up Club and be a Rusty Warren loyal follower. And it says you can do so by sending 25 cents. I would definitely do that. This is, I think, my 8th Rusty Warren album. I believe that she probably, along with Ruth Wallace, would have been a very big influence on Bette Midler and her humor. Found another Red Fox. And it seems like a lot of the Red Fox stuff on Duto are the same material over and over again, rearranged in different volumes, I'm noticing. But it's cool to find them. Here's the other Hudson and Landry. A Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In with sketches nipped from the series, and it's in a really cool and colorful gatefold. So I thought that was nice. And this is on the old school Yellow Epic label. That's cool. I think I showed that before. And a Richard Pryor, Outrageous, on Laugh Records. This is the era where everything's kind of piratey in the recording, so the sound dynamic changes drastically here and there. I got a Steve Martin, Comedy Is Not Pretty. This has the excerpt of Cruel Shoes on it. So that's a classic, and nice gatefold as well. Alright, moving on to music. We got Juluka, Scatterlings of Africa is the big hit from this album, sort of the self-titled song from the album. It's a pop and Afro-pop hybrid from the 80s. Very, very nice record. Herbie Hancock's Future Shock, which includes Rocket and 5 other pieces, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I grew up on this. Found a Donovan, Where Your Love Like Heaven, and I still want to find the album that has Season of the Witch on it. That's the only Donovan LP I have right now, but it's a nice one. I got lucky, and I'm going to put these 3 together. I hit the Nilsson jackpot with The Son of Schmilsson, and I think I showed this. It has the original inner sleeve. Yeah, it has the text wrapped around it. I would like to find the Rappel release as just Son of Dracula, the soundtrack with its dialogue and stuff. Contains tracks from that and Nilsson Schmilsson. A little touch of Schmilsson in the Night. And Knilson. So I'll have a little fill of Harry there for a little while. That'll be good to listen to. I found a Riz Ortolani for one of the, I suspect, kind of sexier export Italian films. It has Ingrid Bergman, Rex Harrison, Alain Delon, George C. Scott, Omar Sharif, and Shirley MacLaine. It may not be an erotica movie, I don't know. But it's Riz Ortolani, who did Mondo Cane and 2072 New Gladiators and Zader, and just a massive, massive career. It's on the MGM label. It's shiny, minty, and still has the shrink on it. The yellow Rolls Royce. I've never seen this movie, but that's quite a cast. Crush Groove soundtrack. How could I say no? I couldn't say no to Crush Groove soundtrack. That's just cool. Another Psych album, Orpheus, and there was another album that I got the day that I got this, and the Nilsson album. What was it? And I don't have it in the pile here. Oh yes, I showed a clip from it. That Candy soundtrack that has Steppenwolf on it. So that was a nice, productive day. Turned up 2 more Disneylands with Professor Wonderful, Julius Sumner Miller, and there were a series of these on different scientific topics. So this was, I think, sold primarily into public school libraries, and it was nice to find that for my Disney collection. This one's on Isaac Newton. And I found a Winnie the Pooh and Tigger LP that's in nice condition. The only other recent finds, I like the Desiderata. I also like the parody by National Lampoon, the Deteriorata. But I always thought Desiderata was a single. I'd never really looked it up, and when I saw this and realized, oh, there was a whole LP of this kind of stuff, I brought it home. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I'm pretty excited to hear this one. I'm probably going to go to bed to it tonight and listen to it. Lastly, when I went exploring that little indie store that I did a little clip on a while back, Soulmates Records, I knocked out another bit of my Rhino shaped records with this football. It contains a football wrap on it, just a little novelty record thing. It's part of the same series that they did the Turtles turtle sized, the Christmas tree rock on a Christmas tree shaped record, the Hanukkah rocks on a blue Star of David, a couple of Halloween ones that are a bat and a pumpkin, and I have all of those. I think the main other one I'm looking for now is the Barnes & Barnes on a fish head shaped record. And I think that is it. So tomorrow, more adventure. Going on a dig, and this video may continue.